Exodus chapter 19. In the 3rd month, when the children of Israel were gone forth out of the land of Egypt, the same day came they into the wilderness of Sinai. For they were departed from Rephidim, and were come to the desert of Sinai, and had pitched in the wilderness, and there Israel camped before the mount. And Moses went up unto God, and the Lord called unto him out of the mountain, saying, Thus shalt thou say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel, Ye have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bare you on eagle's wings, and brought you unto myself. Now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people. For all the earth is mine, and ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests, and an holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. And Moses came and called for the elders of the people, and laid before their faces all these words which the Lord commanded him. And all the people answered together and said, All that the Lord hath spoken we will do. And Moses returned the words of the people unto the Lord. And the Lord said unto Moses, Lo, I come unto thee in a thick cloud, that the people may hear when I speak with thee, and believe thee forever. And Moses told the words of the people unto the Lord. And the Lord said unto Moses, Go unto the people, and sanctify them today and tomorrow, and let them wash their clothes, and be ready against the 3rd day. For the 3rd day the Lord will come down in the sight of all the people upon Mount Sinai. And thou shalt set bounds unto the people round about, saying, Take heed to yourselves that ye go not up into the mount, or touch the border of it. Whosoever toucheth the mount shall surely be put to death. There shall not an hand touch it, but he shall surely be stoned or shot through. Whether it be beast or man, it shall not live. When the trumpet soundeth long, then shall ye come up to the mount. And Moses went down from the mount unto the people, and sanctified the people, and they washed their clothes. And he said unto the people, Be ready against the 3rd day, come not at your wives. And it came to pass on the 3rd day in the morning, that there were thunders and lightnings, and a thick cloud upon the mount, and the voice of the trumpet exceeding loud, so that all the people that was in the camp trembled. And Moses brought forth the people out of the camp to meet with God, and they stood at the nether part of the mount. And Mount Sinai was altogether on a smoke, because the Lord descended upon it in fire. And the smoke thereof ascended as the smoke of a furnace, and the whole mount quaked exceedingly. And when the voice of the trumpet sounded long, and waxed louder and louder, Moses spake, and God answered him by a voice. And the Lord came down upon Mount Sinai on the top of the mount, and the Lord called Moses up to the top of the mount, and Moses went up. And the Lord said unto Moses, Go down, charge the people, lest they break through unto the Lord to gaze, and many of them perish. And let the priests also which come near to the Lord sanctify themselves, lest the Lord break forth upon them. And Moses said unto the Lord, The people cannot come up to Mount Sinai, for thou chargest us, saying, Set bounds about the mount, and sanctify it. And the Lord said unto him, Away, get thee down, and thou shalt come up, thou and Aaron with thee, but let not the priests and the people break through to come up unto the Lord, lest he break forth upon them. So Moses went down unto the people, and spake unto them. I think the two most important things for here are things that most people don't really pay a lot of attention to either. Or don't understand. The first thing was there were bounds set about the mountain. Now, interesting thing, quite people want to know, where is this mountain? I believe it was in Midian. The point is that Moses' father-in-law was Sheik of Midian, living in Midian. The people came close to where Jethro was, it would appear, and he took Zipporah and his 2 sons to Moses. That would be in Midian, not in the Sinai Peninsula. And number 2, there was, we really don't know specifically exactly. Everybody who wants to have a theory can have a theory, and they can create, it's at this particular spot, this particular spot. I believe there are 17 mountains in the Sinai Peninsula that are called Mount Horeb or Mount Sinai by somebody. But I believe that it was in Midian, which is in Saudi Arabia to the east, quite a bit east of Mount Sinai on the other side of the Gulf of Aqaba. And there were boundaries set around the outside for the people to stay behind so they didn't come on the mountain. And that would be simply for respect. If Moses, the prophet, was going to go up, the Heavenly Father was going to have respect to Moses coming up. He didn't want somebody else coming up and polluting it. There were places and this would have been, the mountain would have been symbolic of the temple, which they were going to build a tabernacle, and then later on a temple was going to be. And there are places in the temple where you didn't go. In the temple in Jerusalem, there were signs, even when the Romans had conquered it, that if you went past certain areas and you were not authorized to go past this particular doorway, the punishment was death, even for the Romans. Roman soldiers did not go into the inner courts of the temple. Only the priests went there. And if any woman went there or anybody who was not a priest went there, they were killed. They were stoned. And so there were sacred places where you didn't go, and that's probably what this one was. The second one is a word that means totally different now than what it means. The Lord says a peculiar treasure. Now in modern day English, peculiar means weird. But the Jewish word, the Hebrew word for peculiar, means precious, select, set aside, set apart, wonderful, special. And so basically these people were supposed to be a particular, special, wonderful treasure to God, because he was going to take them from Egypt and the slave mentality to being a nation of priests. I don't know if you ever thought about this before, you probably didn't, but the land of Canaan, when I always thought about where they were going to wind up, I always figured God was going to take them someplace where it was out of the way and these people would be able to live on their own and not bother anybody. But you know what? The place where they're going to go, the land of Canaan, Jericho, Jerusalem, all that area, was the center of the universe for trade and all the rest of it. It was the place that was the most fought over. It was the place that had the two highways, the King's Highway inland, the Via Maris, the way of the sea on the coast. He was putting them in a place where they were going to be able to interact with every other people that was in that entire area. And if they controlled the trade or they set a good example of righteousness or whatever, they would have a huge impact over everything that happened in that whole Middle East area. And if these people had listened to the things that God wanted done and done it the way it was supposed to be, they would have indeed been a pretty spectacular treasure. One of the things, before I forget, on chapter 19, is we see the effort that Heavenly Father is willing to make to back up Moses. In, let's see here, verse 9, it says, "And the Lord said unto Moses, I come unto thee in a thick cloud, and that the people may hear when I speak with thee, and believe thee forever." He was going to do everything he could reasonably do, and still let people have their free agency, of course, to let people know that God was with Moses. So when Moses said something, these people were going to say, yes, thank you very much, and take it as though God had said it to them. The problem that the people had was they were doubters, all of them, for so many times, slow to hearken, slow to do, and they needed that to do that. And so God and Moses together were trying to get these people to the point where they had enough faith to simply step out and do what they were told to do. And their failure to do that all the way through was ultimately their undoing.